What's up, y'all? We are back. This is episode 7 of the Houston Astros Out of the Park Baseball 26 series playthrough rebuild. And we are here. Went a little crazy with the simming. We're here July 2nd, 2028. But the Houston Astros, it seems like we finally broken through. We are 48-35. It's good for second place in the AL West, 3 games back of the Mariners, who have been surging. We currently hold the third wild card spot, but right in the mix for the division and the first wild card. So it's been a really good start to the season for us. It started out really, really well. We started 20-8 in the first month and change. May wasn't as good, 14-5. June has been about the same. We played about 500 ball, but as I've discussed in the past, really it's one good month. All you need is one good month and play 500 ball the rest of the way, and that's exactly what we've done. It's good enough for a 48-35 record. So really good stuff. And just want to update on a few things. Nothing really crazy happened with the team. So the biggest move that we made, Rainer Arias, who is a guy that I had my eyes on since since we traded for him from San Fran, in what looks like a heist of a deal. They got a half a season of Framber Valdez and basically nothing else. Bryce Matthews is an okay player at this point, but he's nothing special. But we picked him up in this trade, and we wound up extending him. So it's a 10-year deal, $134 million. And if you look at his production this year, you're like, wow, that's a massive steal. I actually signed this pretty early in the season. So it was back in May I did this. And if you look at where his stats were in May, he was having a really good season, but it wasn't insane. But then after I signed him, he just completely demolished in June and one game in July so far. So, he's absolutely made that worth it. And we got such a bargain because he was playing really well, but not amazing. And now he's a 185 WRC plus guy. And we're going to, we bought him out his arbitration years. We have, 5 years here. The last arbitration year being 14 million. And then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially 5 free agent years through his age 32 season. So really, really excited. He's had such a great season. He actually missed a couple weeks as well, so his numbers could look even better. But the power is truly broken out after hitting 5 home runs and 271 plate appearances. Has 24 in just about the same number of appearances this year, and put up 4 WAR already in just about the same amount of games. He put up 0.4 last year. So just a true breakout star for us, and we've needed every bit of that. And then we'll go to the pitching first. We'll get back to the offense because our big free agent signing, Nirahide Uchida. I'm just gonna call him. Oh, Kuso is his nickname. That's pretty cool. So Kuso, this is pretty much as much of a can't miss guy as you can get, and he has been every bit as good as I thought. He actually got off to a really insane start. Check out his March and April and May. I guess March and April were incredible. May was also incredible, just a little bit worse, and then June was, also still incredible, but just a little bit worse. But he had one really good start in July, so the numbers overall in the year are incredible. 1.78 ERA. It's a 2.23 ERA plus. On pace for 10.6 R WAR, 7.3 WAR. Every bit worth the $45 million we gave him to make him one of the highest paid players in the league. So he's been worth every bit. Logan Webb, in his own right, has been incredible as well, just overshadowed by Uchida. I have an offer out there for an extension for him. I can't see it here, but it's 6 years, 33 per. Where the heck do I? Free agents. Okay, it's free agent pending offers. I just spoiled a trade that I have lined up. If you saw it, but Yeah, it's 6 years, 33 per, total value of 198. I'm totally, if he accepts this, I'm totally fine with it. But I offered it a few days ago, and some things kind of developed. And if this trade goes through, which you can see it here. It's on the screen. This one's no good. I was just poking around at some deals. If that trade goes through, it might put the future of Logan Webb, at least on that extension, into doubt. So this needs to be done pretty quick. So I'd probably do the trade if I do it this episode or this version of the recording right now. But he's been awesome. That's the bottom line. He's been great. I have no doubts that he's going to age really well based on his skill set. Even if he loses a little bit of velo, he's only sitting 93 to 95. The movement and control is going to play. He had an insane start to the year. Did fall off a bit. March and April were awesome. May was also really good. And then June, he's scuffled a little bit. And so far, hasn't pitched in July, I guess. But yeah, he's had a great year. Nicola Dolo, great season for him. Another guy who started out incredible in April, 5 starts, 1.2 ERA, and then has fallen off since. Did get hurt for a portion of the year. He missed a few starts. I went down with a tired arm for 2 weeks, so threw him in the IL, so he missed 2 or 3 starts there. Overall, a really nice season for him so far, although he has faded a little bit. And then the other 3 guys that we're going to discuss here, like, Christopher Sanchez hasn't really lived up to what I thought he might be. The FIP still looks good. The results just haven't been there yet. He had a brutal month of May. Besides that, April and June were pretty decent. So he's been definitely okay. Joe Musgrove missed a little bit of time with, let's see, it was back tightness. Threw him in the IL, so he missed a couple starts. Overall, the results have been okay. The FIP definitely indicates that he's overperformed, maybe just a little bit. But overall, he hasn't been bad. And then Zach Eflin, the numbers actually look better than those 2 guys. That's mostly driven by his bullpen appearances. So in 27 innings out of the pen, he has a 2.3 ERA, and he's been awesome in that role. As a starter, before we took him, he's made some spot starts when Lodolo and Musgrove are out, but as a starter, he hasn't been quite as good. So his numbers look good, but they're mostly out of the pen. But he's been a nice swingman type to have on the roster. And then the rest of the bullpen, it's actually been, I don't know if we're still number 1 bullpen ERA. We're number 3 now. But the bullpen's been awesome. Andres Munoz, the results look really good. The FIP and the walk to strikeout and home run stuff don't look great at this point. So there might be some regression coming with him. But the results have been good so far. He's not on a crippling contract or anything. It's just a 2-year deal. So if he gave us these results for the 2 years, I'd be totally happy with that. We have Aiden Curry here, who has broken out as a reliever this season. 2.70 ERA, 75 FIP minus, so everything looks good. The strikeout, walk, home run stuff look awesome. And he's definitely a guy who's going to be in contention for a rotation spot, I think, next year. The way he's developed, he looks like a really good arm. But he's our 8th inning guy at the moment. Joel Payamps has had a nice little season. 38 FIP minus shows that he's probably even gotten a little unlucky. Hasn't given up a home run yet this year. That was kind of an issue for him last year. 1.3 allowed. It's not really in his game with the 60 home run allowed. So I think this will mostly sustain. The walks have been way down, which has been awesome. And the strikeouts up. So Joel Payamps has been a great player for us. And the rest of the pen, Dylan Floro did get hurt for a little bit. He went down for 3 weeks with a strained forearm. But when he's been out there, he's been awesome results-wise. The strikeouts haven't been there, but he's keeping the ball in the ballpark. So he's been a good piece, a good free agent signing for $3.5 million. Wilkerman Gonzalez has been a little disappointing this year after a breakout season last year. He's just walking a lot more guys, giving up more home runs. The strikeout stuff still looks good. So we'll hope he bounces back, but he's been pulled from higher leverage at this point. Brian Hudson, The FIP is pretty ugly. He's given up a lot of home runs, which wasn't an issue for him last year. So I think that this will definitely come down to at least 1.5, and all of a sudden you're talking about a beast because he hasn't walked anyone this year, which has been a trend on our team, and I think that has some to do with having Drew Romo back there for him the whole season. So Hudson's, the results have been good enough, but there's probably some regression coming with the walks, and then also he'll probably improve the home runs. So yeah, I think he'll balance out to be a good arm. And Ethan Pecco, the last guy we'll talk about here, he spent a little bit of time in the minors. He made 2 starts. We just needed some fresh arms at some points. And he's been okay when he's been up. The results have been fine. And then, we talked about Zach Eflin. And then other arms that have been up, we had James Hicks up for a few innings to get a fresh arm, as I'll say. Calderon has not been up. We had Davey Cruz, who was balling out in AAA, a 52 FIP minus at that level. Called him up, and he was really, really bad in one appearance. I think he gave like 4 runs in one. Yeah, he gave 4 runs in an inning and 2/3. So a really small sample size, but could be a useful left-handed reliever out of the pen. Hodgkin hasn't been up. He hasn't been good so far in his small taste of AAA after pitching really well in AA to start the year. But I'm sure he'll adjust to that level. Michael Nora has been up for a little bit. The FIP is pretty ugly. 155 FIP minus. The strikeout, walk, home run stuff is pretty wild. But the results are there when he was up. Manuel Urias was up for a couple innings to get us a fresh arm. Santa has not been up yet. So that's where we are with the pitching. It's been really good. We are first in runs allowed in the league. So, that's all been awesome. And then the hitting, we've gotten a couple of surprise performances that have kind of propelled us to where we are. And it starts with Starling Caba, who last year, he had a brutal offensive season. There's no way around it. But I had said this last episode, the 233 BABIP was a sign that I think he can be a better hitter. And I threw out the 75 to 80 WRC plus number. And his BABIP has jumped to 120 points, and he's been well above league average. And he actually had an incredible start to the year. You check out his April stats: a 137 OPS plus, 141 WRC plus. He was awesome. May, he definitely scuffled, and he went down to he's down to like an 80 WRC plus guy. And then June, he had another really good month. And so far in July, in one game, he's been good. So overall, that's an above league average hitter with just incredible defense over a shortstop, an 11.5 zone rating in 68 games. Extrapolate that over a full season, he's well over 25 zone rating. So he's been incredible defensively and really solid offensively, which is a really great player. And then Zach Neto, he's been a really nice pickup. He's provided a little bit of pop to the order that we didn't have. Defensively, he's been strong enough at third base. We're really happy with that. And I did look at his splits, and it doesn't really show it here. April was really good for him, and then May, he fell off a cliff. He was well below league average at this point, and then had a really strong July and June and July so far. So he's been a nice pickup for sure, providing some life into the offense. Tristan Casas, he did miss a little bit to the start of the season, but he was just insane when he came back. 232 OPS plus in the month of April after coming off the injury, driven by a 400 BABIP. So that was always going to come down, and he's been a fine hitter since. Overall, a really nice start to the year for him, first half of the year. Then Drew Romo, he got up to a great start as well. It's kind of crazy that a lot of these guys did. Check out his April, 114 WRC plus. Since then hasn't been quite as good. But providing the offense that he did last year, the defense hasn't quite been there. for where he was last season with the 17.6 framing runs. Year before he had 17.3. So far, only 4.1 over a full season. He's about 10 or so. So yeah, I mean, he's been really good defensively, just not amazing how he's been in the past. And then Malcolm Moore, huge breakout player for us after a really nice cup of coffee last year in the majors. He's played really well, a 143 WRC plus, 1 WAR, playing a solid defensive catcher when he's been out there. He's actually my DH at the moment because we'll get to Jordan in just a moment. But yeah, Moore having a nice year. He had like a crazy 2 months as a part-time player. He had 6 home runs, 8 RBIs, but like was hitting, around the Mendoza line. But in June, he definitely played a lot better, and now he's getting to consistent playing time as our DH against righties. Jacob Melton's definitely taken a step back offensively this year. Still playing a solid defensive center field, so we're okay with him there. But we have a deal in place that might push him either to a corner or a 4th outfielder spot, which I prefer him in, just based on his overall game. Gabriel Gonzalez is a part-time player, getting a lot more playing time here with injuries to Altuve and to Jordan. Not that Altuve was really taking playing time from him at this point, but 122 WRC plus, only comes out to 0.8 WAR in 56 games based on his pretty bad defense out in left field. I'm kind of kicking myself for not improving him defensively this offseason, but he may not be on this team for very long. And then Matt McClain has been pretty disappointing. 110 WRC plus, pretty solid. But his defense over at second is just fallen off a cliff after being pretty average last year for us. Just has not been that guy this season. Pretty bad defensive player at this point, which is kind of unacceptable for me in the way that I'm trying to build this team. So another guy that may not be on this team for very long. And I'm not usually one to trade guys after a season, but when the right offer comes along, you just kind of have to pull the trigger. Then for the rest of the team, as for guys that are getting playing time, Cole Carrig has been disappointing after a really nice last season and a half up in the majors. Defensively, I'm kind of starting to believe the OSA's 50 range because he's not really playing like a 60 range guy. At shortstop, he's been bad defensively. Second base, just about average. And third base, below average. And then in center field, he hasn't been great when he's been out there. So he's playing all over the field again. He's not a bad player or anything, but yeah, disappointing with the bat. Then Roderick Arias just got called up. Kind of wanted to get a fresh look at some different bodies in the infield. And he's been good in 26 plate appearances, small samples. And then Cesar Hernandez has been called up. Started the year in Double-A, played really well at that level. And then in 69 plate appearances in Triple-A, played really well. So I was ready to call him up. He's pretty much fully developed, so no real harm in doing that. But yeah, he's had 13 plate appearances. He's played well. And then Anthony Hueso, who also may not be on this team very long. A guy who started the year in AAA and was really good at that level. Called him up. It hasn't provided too much, but only small samples. As for the rest of the hitting, that's pretty much everyone that's been up. Kenny Gomez. Yeah, he 146 plate appearances, a decent sample, and just really wasn't getting it done, which is the reason I called up those other 2 guys. He's not a bad player, and maybe he works out eventually, but just wasn't getting it done, so I sent him down to AAA. None of these other guys have been up, so Fabian Lopez was a dude I wanted to get on the roster. Unfortunately, now he's dealing with an oblique strain, so not ideal, but he was hitting pretty damn well in AAA and playing good defense. And then for the injuries, Justin Martinez had a setback and everything. unfortunately, this has kind of sapped some of his control, his movement. So we'll see how he comes back. He'll be back, about where we thought, early September. And then Yordan Alvarez was really playing well. He was healthy through his first 62 games, like was playing every day, or as close to it as I let him because I rest him 97 energy. He had a 132 WRC plus, 1.2 WAR, 10 homers in those games. So he's playing well. Unfortunately, went down with a torn back muscle. Is going to miss the rest of the season, unfortunately. Maybe he comes back for the World Series. We'll see if we even make it that far. But yeah, unfortunate end to Alvarez's potentially Astros career. I don't want to get rid of him, but he's asking for 5 years for a DH only that gets hurt. Maybe he's good for 100 games a year if you're lucky. I don't know. I don't want to get rid of him, but just kind of how things are playing out here, unfortunately. And then Jose Altuve went down with a bone bruise in his wrist. I think it was a 3-week injury. Yep, 3 weeks. So put him on the IL. And he's kind of out of juice at this point at age 38. So wasn't playing that much anyway. He was backup TH, playing a little bit of first base, a little bit of left field. He actually wasn't bad defensively out there. So yeah, it's an unfortunate end for these two. It looks like, Altuve's kind of just taking up a roster spot at this point. It's tough. I don't want to get rid of him, but we'll see. Then these two. I mean, they're guys on the thumbnail. The last two kind of guys from the original team. So this team resembles nothing how we started the series. So yeah, I mean, that's where we are. So the big move that I think I'm going to pull off today, I was searching around for, how this came about was just looking at the standings, see what teams were struggling. I saw the Padres here. I looked at all these other teams and, they weren't as willing to part with star players. And we're looking for a little bit more star talent, especially on offense. So I went to the Padres and, they were willing to play ball, unlike the other teams. First, I was looking at Tatis. He's having a great year. Has been a really good player for the last 3 years. But he's under a big contract. He's 29, a little bit older than Jackson Merrill, who we're in discussions with. Merrill having a down season. I think a lot of it's fueled by this 250 BABIP. The power numbers are still there. The walk strikeout stuff's pretty much in line. Maybe a little bit elevated in the strikeout department. I think that comes down with the 70 avoid Ks. Also a fantastic defender out in center field, 5 zone rating so far. So you have a star center fielder who theoretically can hit really well, and we're kind of buying low on him. And the Padres have some money issues. They got money wrapped up in Tatis, Bogarts. They signed Alex Bregman, who's not making a lot of money or anything. Now they do have Ha-Seong Kim, who's making a bit of cash. And then they still have Manny Machado for 5 more years. He's a negative 0.7 win player. Hasn't been a good player since 26, unfortunately, and his defense has pushed him to first base. So they're kind of it seems like they're just going to go into a full rebuild pretty soon. They also have Jake Cronenworth on the books. Nick Pivetta still making some money here. So yeah, they have some money troubles. They're probably looking to just tear this down at some point. So Jackson Merrill was the guy that I targeted, and they were definitely surprisingly willing to trade him. And this isn't like a complete rebuild move for them. They're getting some controllable guys that are close to the majors or in the majors. So Matt McClain will be going in this deal. Has been heating up recently and still a good player, still arbitration eligible for one more season. So they get a second baseman. Anthony Huezo, who's really highly valued. 22 years old, I can see why. He's a good defender, kind of a Jackson Merrill light type. And his hit at pretty much every level in the minors. So he's included. And then Gabriel Gonzalez might be their biggest get in this deal. He's proved he can be a major league hitter for sure. At only 24 years old, there's a ton of team control. And then Juan Fernandez, who is a nice dart throw. We signed him as an international guy. So as I was wrapped up in the freaking pitcher signing thing, I forgot to sign international free agents, which happens more than I'd like to admit. I'm actually okay with it because, signing the top international guy every year you kind of just build a team of international studs. So, we've gone after top guys for the previous 3 years. I actually don't hate that I did this because, it kind of levels the playing field. This team's kind of built, our farm system's kind of built on top international guys like Pedro Beltran, who's now in high A as a 19-year-old. We have Jesus Ledesma, who's our top prospect. He just got promoted to A-ball after 4 starts in Dominican League. So, yeah, that's all to say, like, I don't want to be too overpowered in this series with getting international guys. So, yeah, this guy was signed pretty late. I just threw a bunch of money, like small, like $200,000 things at like 15 guys probably. So he was one of them. So they're getting a bunch of dart throws. Well, 1 dart throw and a starting second baseman and 2 potentially solid major league starters in the outfield for Jackson Merrill, who is going to be getting expensive for them. He has a few years of team control left. 1 year after this. But he's only 25. So the reason that the Logan Webb thing comes, I know I'm going on a long tangent to get to the point that I'm getting, but the reason that the Logan Webb thing is kind of, if I do this trade, I'm not going to extend Logan Webb because I want to extend Jackson Merrill instead and use that money on locking up 2 outfielders for us and 2 offensive studs. And that's kind of the way I like to operate. We already have a good pitching staff coming. We have guys like Aiden Curry, who I plan on sliding in. We still have Uchida under contract, obviously. Lodolo, Sanchez, these guys are locked up next year. And we have other starters coming, like Matt Scott. He's injured, but also Tim Levette, who unfortunately went down with the torn triceps, but he's on his way. He was pitching pretty well in AA. And also, not to get ahead of myself, but Jason DeCaro, who in 5 starts at AAA has balled out, and maybe our scout's wrong. I don't know, but yeah, I think we're good pitching, hitting. You'd love to get one more stud in the building, so Jackson Merrill's that guy, and it's not a crazy package or anything. I kind of feel like I should throw in one more dart just to make this a little bit more realistic. What about like Eduardo Beltre is kind of a borderline top 200 guy for us, I think. Just kidding, he's not. But I think pretty highly of him. We have so many freaking prospects. We're only 11th though, which is crazy. But yeah, you know what? I'll throw in Eduardo Beltre, try to even this out a little bit. They get another potential starting outfielder in the future, so. The back of my brain still thinks we need to add something more. Yeah, I agree. Let me throw in one more dude for them. Maybe like an infielder type. Ooh, Alejandro Nunez. Can he play some infield? Oh, that's cool. So I'll hold on to him. I do like him. So, yeah, maybe like a guy like Luis Rivas. Okay, so I like this a little bit more. They get some more dart throws, and this feels a little bit more realistic. So Jackson Merrill under team control for 1 more year. We're gonna look to lock him up immediately as we sign him here. So that's the deal. We're gonna pull the trigger on it, and that's a franchise-altering move here to start the episode. As I've been recording for a freaking half hour. Oh my god. It's crazy how time flies when I'm just rambling about this game. So we'll add Merrill to the active roster. And that kind of pushes Melton into maybe left field or a 4th outfielder. But man, this lineup looks a lot better with Merrill in the middle of it. And it's pretty exciting. So that's the deal. And then the extension that kind of comes with this. I'm probably looking at, realistically, he's probably looking at 8 years at least. He wants a ton of money. I'm fine with that. We'll do his last arbitration year, $25 million, and then maybe 32. See if we can get him to that number for his free agent years up through his age 33 season, and he's okay with that. So I have to be careful with locking up too many guys. Arias is on a great team-friendly contract, so I'm not worried about that. The future commitments still aren't very high, though. So Logan Webb, is it smart to throw that much more money at another older pitcher? I don't know. Do we have the money for it? I think we do. We still have $53 million more for extensions. Do I just lock up both of those guys? I mean, do we have anyone else who's kind of getting close? Not really. We're pretty much clear for the future. I think Webb's going to age pretty nicely. He's been nothing but a stud in the save. Yeah, screw it. We're just going to extend both of them. Okay, so that's this part of the episode. The draft's in just a few days, so we'll sum up to that. We have the 10th pick. As I went through what do they call it? The combine, the draft combine. So yeah, we'll go up to the draft and we'll see what's available at that point. Okay, so since the trade, we've gone 6-2. We're here at the first year player draft, and it hasn't been just Jackson Merrill, but he's been a big part of it. Zach Netto's just went on a crazy game. 4 hits, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. But he's not like the main reason. Arman Ramirez, 21-year-old, who I kind of just called up because we needed a second baseman. He looked pretty well developed and was playing really well in AAA in 104 plate appearances. He's been awesome in 6 games for us. 0.5 WAR in 6 games is pretty awesome. 233 WRC plus. Still learning second base, but I think he can develop into a really good one. And then we also called up Walker Janik, who is a real-life Astros farmhand catcher. And in 3 games, he has 2 home runs already. So a guy who was playing really, really well in AAA, just waiting for an opportunity to get him on the roster. And he's working as our backup catcher as Malcolm Moore takes over the DH duties for the moment. So it's been really good. And then Jackson Merrill had a great first game. He had 3 hits in his first game with us. And everything looks good. We're super excited for him. In 7 games, he's been great. So that's where we are. Super excited for where this team is at. Both of the guys did sign extensions. So we did lock up Logan Webb. He has a bunch of opt-out stuff. He has an opt-out after year 3, and then 2 player options at the end of the contract. So there's a chance he opts out of one of those, but excited to have him back. And then Jackson Merrill, he also signed his extension, which will take him through his age 33 season. Pretty affordable for a guy who could be of his caliber. So that's where we're at. First year player draft, we moved down 1 spot based on this comp pick that the Nationals got back for. They didn't sign one of the top pitching prospects in this draft. It is Brad Iridelli. So they didn't sign him last year with the 5th pick, so they get a comp pick at number 6. He's a guy I'm targeting in the mock draft. They had him going just after us. If I can find them. Oh, here's the mock draft, yeah. So they have him going 13 to San Diego. I'd love to get my hands on him. But we'll see what happens. We'll see who falls to us here. And, there's some good players at the top. Maybe not the top end talent that I'm used to. This catcher would be awesome as well. They have Vic Smith going number 1. Looks like a pretty good player. Corey Bishop, number 2. Rick Bowles, number 3. Mike DeLeon, who's probably my favorite player in the draft, minus his personality. He's supposed to go number 4. So let's see what the Astros take. They take Joe Waller, Slick Nick, at number 1. High upside, decently low floor pitcher, but he's durable. And then they take Kenny Ament. Wow. With the second pick. Massive power, eye upside, but huge strikeout issues. So they'll hope they can develop that in the development lab or something. Then this guy looks pretty good. Jonathan Kikalese, 6-pitch guy. The only concern is his personality, his leadership, his movement maybe. It looks like a pretty good arm. And this is playing out really pretty well for us. Rick Bowles goes number 4. Mike DeLeon finally comes off the board at number 5. And then Deli goes number 6 to the freaking Nationals again. Oh my God. So they couldn't sign him last year, so they think they can do it this year. I mean, there's a good chance they do, but if they screw it up, they'll have pick number 7 next year, and maybe they'll draft him again. Okay. So the guy who sticks out to me right now is Tim Kiger. Good defensive catcher, good offensive upside, pretty well developed for a 22-year-old. Look at the rest of the pool, though. See what else is out here. So Stephen Brown, low floor arm, but I do like him. Mike Caudill, a little bit younger of a version of the other guy we just talked about. Reliever. I like Justin Franklin, but he's more of a 3-pitch guy, most likely. He could be a beast, though, man. That's exciting upside and a good floor for a 19-year-old with the control already at a 30. I don't think the changeup will develop. They'll have a fastball, sinker, slider. Don't love the pitch mix, but could be a guy we target here. And then Tim Kiger. Josh Phillips looks like a stud reliever. Dave Ford, kind of the same build as the guy that went earlier, but doesn't provide much defense. Looks like he's a little bit better in the infield, though. Could be an excellent defensive first baseman. This guy's okay, too. Joel Barton doesn't look too bad, but not great defensively. This guy, Mike Britton, looks pretty good. So, yeah, there's definitely some good players here. This reliever looks sick. Jimmy Rader. Ooh, I like the personality. Fastball, sinker, splitter, cutter. A little bit too much fastball variation. And I don't know if the changeup will come along. But he definitely has an out pitch in the splitter. And these guys always catch my eyes with the toolsy. I mean, he's a switch hitter. He's a bad leader. Sluggo got a cool nickname too, or maybe a little cringy. I don't know. Good defensive outfielder. I could work on the arm a little bit, but that's fine. I like Luke Anderson quite a bit. We already have a lot of outfield prospects, though. Not that I draft for need, but something to consider, I guess. Where are you going to play all those guys when they eventually get up? Man, I mean, like a reliever in the second round, like a guy like this would be just perfect for us. Yeah, I mean, there's some good talent on the board for sure. Of course, we have the 10th pick, so there's always going to be a good amount of talent. A lot of relievers. This guy's got a nice personality. Maybe a little early for him. Oh, Vic Smith is still out here. He was the guy who was projected to go number 1, I think. Good speed. Decent outfield defense. The eye is concerning. The power is a little concerning. I didn't even scout him. I don't know if I scouted him at the combine because I just assumed he was going top 10, but he's fallen here. I like Vic Smith quite a bit, man. This is a fun build and a guy who can be a really nice outfielder. How does our farm look? So we have Pedro Beltran, who's, damn close, and he's starting to get hot in high A after a rough start to that level. Man, he's getting close. Like, do we even have a spot to play after we locked up Merrill? Merrill does have the flexibility of moving him to third base. I'd prefer to keep him in center field because he's a really good defender out there, but something to consider. Kelvin Alvarez, another guy who's been in the farm system, is finally starting to develop, looks like a good player. So, we have a ton of outfielders. Jeff Hunnes, we took a second round pick just last season. But, you don't, it's not even Gary Coslett here too. He's a third round pick last year. So, does it make sense to take Vic Smith and just add another outfielder into the fold? I don't know. We'll keep going through. We'll go down to the 60s. Ooh. Yeah, bad personality, low floor. Bad personality. Ray Andrews is pretty decent. Maybe a second round pick. Okay. Man, this is tough because the talent is kind of where we don't need it. Tim Kiger is still the guy I'm looking at, I think. After all that, based on positional value and where we kind of might need some bodies. Drew Romo won't be here forever, especially after locking up a couple different guys. We could afford that for sure. I don't know if he's worth doing that. How many years of control does he have? He's making the minimum still, man. So he's got 3 years after this, so it's not a big rush with Romo. But there could be an opening after 3 years for a starting catcher. Tim Kiger could be that. Got Luke Anderson, I was intrigued about, but between Anderson and Vic Smith, I don't know. It'd be a good time to compare these guys. So Anderson gives you the eye. Vic Smith's probably a better bat to ball guy for sure. Power is pretty comparable. The bat to ball plus the power probably plays him a little bit better offensively. It's actually important to look at the batted ball profile too. Vic Smith, a line drive hitter, so maybe less of those home runs will become less of those. Okay, they're both line drive. Yeah, less of those balls hit will become home runs. Man, that's tough. And then we still got some of the arms that I liked at the top. Justin Franklin, Daddy O. And then the other guy, I don't know which one it was. Jimmy Rader, maybe? Yeah, he was the guy with the high work ethic. High baseball IQ. Huge upside. But the man being so low, there is something to be said about that. Especially with the Jason DeCastro. He's expected a second round pick. I took him third overall, and he didn't develop. Kiger's expected to be a high pick. Justin Franklin definitely expected to be a high pick. Even if the changeup doesn't develop, I'd still feel good about him. Vic Smith's still there. Has his scouting gone up or down? He's lost a little bit of pop. Besides that, not too much. We can work on the eye with him. Let's see. Productive regular on a contending team. What do they say about Justin Franklin? Chance to be an ace. I mean, man, our farm's pretty set up in the outfield. I think we throw the dart at the arm in Justin Franklin. Steven Brown, probably not a guy I'd look at. Hey man, this is tough. Or Tim Kiger. Oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna go off camera and really think about this. We'll be back with the pick. All right, so I think I figured this out. So Vic Smith is kind of the first guy eliminated. I don't know. We don't really need more outfield prospects, and our long-term outfield is locked up pretty well. So it was down to Franklin, Kiger. I'm gonna go with Justin Franklin. It's a higher risk play. Development risk is only medium, so it's not anything crazy. But, you know, this is probably the last time we'll be drafting high in this series, so it's kind of important to get high-end talent. And Justin Franklin gives us the best chance to get that. I love Tim Kiger, and, you know, it's the same conversation with him. You know, you want to get high-end talent, but, you know, I think catcher is the spot we're a little bit more comfortable with just getting a defensive guy. You know, you kind of want high-end starters. So I'm going to go with Justin Franklin. And select him here. Bonus man's pretty high. You know, for a guy like Kiger, it's a little bit lower. But I'm not really concerned about that. So we're going to draft old Justin Daddy-O Franklin and meet his demand. 11th pick in the draft. 10th pick in the draft. And I'm curious where the rest of these guys went. So Tim Kiger went the pick after. So, you know, it could definitely be a toss-up between those guys. And that played true. Vic Smith falls all the way to number 17. There'll probably be some talent here. In round 2, for sure. Luke Anderson, another guy I was looking at. He winds up going 21. Okay, so yeah, do I take a reliever in the second round? Jimmy Rader may as well just double up on these guys. I mean, high work ethic, high baseball IQ, development risk medium, bunch of pitches. I don't really see a ton else here that I loved looking through. Yeah, not a defensive catcher. Tim Myers, not a defender. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just take Jimmy Rader. Really like him. You know, we have 2 dart throws at excellent arms here in the first 2 rounds. Okay. Elijah Pennington. I mean, Brendan Williams might be worth the shot here in the 3rd round. He's impossible, though. I don't have a ton of money to work with here. Previous years, I would have thrown that at him, but this guy, Jim Knutson, looks pretty good. Is there anyone who's like slipped a ton in the mock draft? Brendan Williams. I could see why, though. Brian Lewis. Yeah, I think I'm going to take the shortstop here. Jim Knutson. Not like the highest ceiling, but could be a nice second base shortstop type and a low demand. Okay, I'm gonna do the rest of the draft off camera. We'll come back with what we wind up doing here. All right, so we went through the first pick, Justin Franklin, number 1. We took Jimmy Rader, number 2. Jim Knutson, we wound up taking in the 3rd round as a infield prospect. Aaron Herndon, nice high floor, pretty decent upside 3rd baseman in the 4th round. Took Mike Matskus, excellent defender, pretty decent upside at the bat. Kind of excited for him. We got him in the 5th round. And then took Josh Leno, another high floor, potential first baseman, I think. Good eye, decent pop. We'll see if he develops. Phelan Scullin, catching prospect. Eric Vital, low floor first baseman. Could be an elite first baseman, even 3rd baseman, quite frankly. Jay Tammy, probably a relief prospect, but decent upside. David Bernhard, well-rounded, 3-pitch guy. Not usually a fan of that, but could be a nice reliever. Edward Carabajal, Eric Hansen. I went for a lot more of these ground ball types. Jonathan Reitmere is the same way. Greg LaRue, Danny Trejo, Mike Emberton. So I threw a bunch of darts at like high school arms at this point, just because they have more time to develop and stuff. Chris Nottage, we took in the 18th round. Evan Franco, more of a high floor guy in the 19th round. And then Ed Simpson, low floor, see if he ever turns in anything as a 20th round pick. Yeah, so that's that. So we have the deadline in a few days, or I guess 2 weeks or so. I don't really know where else this team needs to upgrade. Maybe a corner outfielder, like a rental type. While we wait for guys like Kevin Alvarez to get here and Pedro Beltran, Gary Kozlet. Just a bunch of these dudes we got. Kozlet's probably ready for AA too. I left him down there. He's been crushing it the whole time, but just wanted to get him enough plate appearances to prove that it's accurate. He's only 19 though. I might keep him down for like another month. Huffins as well. Another guy who's on his way. Just went up to AA. So yeah, I don't know exactly what this deadline has in store. Go to the trade block. Last time I looked, there wasn't a ton. I looked at OOTP. They wanted way too much for him. Edwin Diaz isn't really like a game-changing reliever for us. Jeff Hoffman, they're looking to trade him. He definitely fell off after they signed him. But he is having a great year. Dustin May is out here making $20 million. He must have accepted a qualifying offer, right? He did. Interesting. But he's very injury prone as well. Brian Abreu could bring him back for a reunion. Luke Weaver, I think he was on the World Series winning Braves last year as their closer. This year hasn't been quite as good, but he's a decent arm. I don't really know if we need relief help though. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, we might just need one more starter. I think that's like the path. Replace Musgrove here. I like Eflin in the swingman role. I don't really know if I want to make him a starter again. And, maybe like a true DH while Jordan's out for the rest of the season. Probably not going to be coming back. But also like Casas is probably better off as a DH. So we go for a first baseman. I don't know. But we'll see in the upcoming days what comes about. All right, so we have one trade to announce here. So it will be the Colorado Rockies, who are rebuilding. They have this reliever, Wellington Herrera, who I really like, 24 years old. My type of player, not the low control, but the low home runs allowed type. Has had now basically a full season and a half of pitching appearances and has 65th minus in those 2 years in Colorado. So Emmanuel Urias will be sent their way, a controllable starter who definitely projects as a starter, probably more useful to them than to me. And then Greg LaRue, I'm also tossing in. They would have done that trade straight up, but wanted to give them a good relief prospect, or at least a relief prospect, to recoup some value here. So controllable reliever, lefty. We're going to pull the trigger on that. And our bullpen looking a lot better now. We do need to make a roster spot for him. Ethan Pecco has struggled a little bit, so I'm going to send him down. And Herrera will be added to the pen, which adds another lefty, which is nice with Hudson. And we're building something pretty nice. Andres Munoz has been a little shaky out of the pen. 4 walks in his last game. He had 3 runs. Wound up losing us the game, 3-0 in extras. So his future is kind of up in the air. I actually might just pull him out of the closer's role now because having a little bit of buyer's remorse with him this offseason, but he hasn't been horrible. So we are now 58-42. We are half game up on the Mariners. It hasn't been all smooth sailing though. We did go on a nice little losing streak before the All-Star break. We lost 3 of 4 here. Lost 2 out of 3 against the White Sox coming out of the All-Star break. So that reminds me we should check on All-Stars. So in the AL, check out these guys. Uchida obviously makes it. He's been insane. Logan Webb also makes it as our other starter. Garrett Cole is closing games for, they traded for him this offseason. The Yankees, they wound up eating the entire deal, 80%, and then they threw in like $4 million cash. Yeah, $4.5 million. So basically they ate the whole deal. And sent him to Tampa Bay to be their closer, and he's been amazing in that role. So good to see Garrett having some late career success here for Tampa Bay. As a Yankees fan, I love to see that at least. In the infield, no representatives for us in the infield. In the outfield, we have Rainer Arias out in right field. No surprise there. He's continued to play incredibly well. Check out the NL All-Stars here. Doesn't look like anything too crazy. Yamamoto has fallen off pretty significantly. He winds up making it. They still have so much left on this deal, which is just crazy. Herman Ramirez continues to ball out. He's been so good since we called him up. Jackson Merrill hasn't really been the player that I thought he'd be. He hasn't hit a home run yet in 15 games. 52 WRC plus. I think he'll turn things around, but we'll definitely need that from him if we're going to make a push here. But Malcolm Moore continues to play well as a DH. Neto, Casas, Arias have been great all year. Melton's improved a little bit since moving out to left field. And his defense has been good there as well. Our zone rating is improving slowly with having an actual, I guess Ramirez hasn't been that good at second, but something better than what's his name was giving us. Oh my God, I can't even think of his name. Matt McLean was giving us, of course, yeah, he's balling out in San Diego so far. So that trade's worked out pretty well for them. Gabriel Gonzalez, he's been hitting okay, and Anthony Hueso is their leadoff hitter right now. He hasn't been doing too much. So yeah, that's where we are. I don't really think there's any other upgrades to be made with this team. That's not our team though. Upgrades to be made with our team. Outside of like a platoon left fielder, a righty bat out there. Cole Carrick's been doing most of that work. And he hasn't been very good at it. So maybe we wind up flipping Carrick for a platoon guy. There's not a ton out there, though. Just looking around. I mean, the trade block hasn't really added any players last time I checked. Yes, pretty much still the same guys. Maybe we buy low. He's not a good enough defender. So yeah, I want a good enough defender in left field who's also a righty, which there's just not that many of them. Stowers, Sanchez, these guys are all lefties. Mitchell, Lau, Grisham, Meyer, McCarthy. Teoscar's like the closest, but he's a bad defender. Marcelo Zuna, if you want to throw him out in left field. I personally won't be doing that. So yeah, it's slim pickings out here for like that kind of player that I'm looking for. Sad to see these guys down here like Simeon, Wilson Contreras, who I love in real life, Suarez still kicking around at age 37. And St. Louis has two of these guys, which is funny. But yeah, we're going to go up to the deadline, see if there's any more moves to be made, and we'll be back with updates at that point. All right, so we have a trade to announce here, July 28th, 59 and 44. We are going to send Joe Musgrove, who has been a nice starter for us the last couple of seasons. But I think his time is just kind of up based on his 125th. The results haven't been that bad yet, but he's a free agent at the end of the year. Want to recoup some value. Then Cole Carrig, who once upon a time, even as early as last year, was kind of like a future super utility guy. I haven't been very impressed with his defense particularly, and the bat definitely hasn't been there. So those two guys are going to go to Baltimore, and we're going to pick up. Really, the biggest piece that I wanted in this deal was Esmerlin Valdez, who was a Rule 5 pick for them, so he does need to stick on the roster the whole year, or the remainder of the year, which shouldn't be an issue. But I'm really intrigued by this 75 power against lefties. We really need a platoon bat with Jacob Melton out in left field, at least for this season. And he looks like he can kind of mash lefties. This is proven true this season. He's killed them, has not been as good against righties. So perfect platoon partner, in my opinion. We're also getting back Andre Palante, who is my type of flavor of reliever, low home runs allowed stuff. Isn't really going to blow you away with stuff or control, but throws hard, is having a really good season, and is, been a pretty consistent reliever, steady reliever the last couple of years. He is making $8 million, but a free agent at the end of the season. Also picking up two other guys, Ricky Bustamante, who I love. Again, lefty, good stamina, good hold runners, good all-around pitch mix type. Has been pitching in A-ball this year. Was Scout and Discovery back in 26 for them. So he's thrown in this deal. And then kind of like a Cole Carrig light, Aaron Estrada. The infield defense, he's a second base only type guy. But brings a similar batting profile, has killed AAA pitching this year, and also has some outfield, so he can play a corner outfield. So kind of fills into the super utility role that Carrig was playing immediately. So maybe not the player necessarily that Carrig is. I don't know. He might be better. I don't know. But really, it's flipping Estrada and Carrig, and then flipping Musgrove for Valdez, Palante, and Bustamante. So we're going to go ahead and do this trade. And once again, some more roster turnover for us. But this gives us a little bit more depth, I think. We don't really have a backup center fielder now. I guess Melton can handle that. And then Walter Janik, he's played well, but unfortunately he just doesn't have a spot. With bringing in, he's not on the team yet. Or we could even go with Fabian Lopez here. But I'm going to go with Aaron Estrada. Bring him up and kind of just plug him right into the role that Carrig was playing for us. So that's backing up the corner outfields. You can play some second base. That's perfect. And then we'll have Arias kind of become our full-time backup infielder. Malcolm Moore can back up a catcher. Altuve can get some at-bats at TH. He's been really bad this year, though. So yeah, the lineup doesn't really change, but it's a depth move. Against lefties, Valdez slots in pretty nicely there. Estrada can go back up second. Probably some corner outfield. We'll keep Melton off the field in those situations. And the roster's coming together just a little bit more. He's only 5'8", so probably can't play first base. We'll put Arias there if we need him. and Malcolm Moore can back up right there. So, yeah, not too bad. I think it was a pretty successful deadline. We also add in Palante, who can be a nice reliever. Does push Zach Eflin back into the rotation, which is something I said I didn't really want, but I'm okay with it. He's not going to be a playoff starter for us. Likely it'll be these four guys, but if he does pitch well, he can go into the rotation. So add some depth to the bullpen. I'm actually going to let's put Herrera as our 7th inning guy. Yeah, so that's probably going to be it. We'll sim past the deadline here. I'm still not totally convinced on this team at this point, especially with a lot of, it seems, late game blown games. And look at that, Valdez right out of the gate, home run in his first game with us. Can he play? Oh, he can play some first base. Okay, it's good to know. Those games happen though. And a 2-1 victory. Liam Hendricks still kicking around, having a great season in Arizona. They want a big package back for him though. So one more day and then we're at the deadline. Then we'll wrap up this episode. And a good way to end the series. We win 3-1 against Texas. Sorry, Philadelphia. We're going to Texas now. Sanchez, a nice start. He's been on a nice roll in his last couple starts. Munoz good out of the pen. That's good to see. Because he'll still be a big piece, even if he's not the closer. Then Curry and Gonzalez close it out. So that'll wrap up this episode. Thank you very much for watching. We finish up this one in first place, 61-45. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.